Hello guys, welcome to yet another Banter Blitz with me, International Master Andrey Ostrovskiy. Just as usual, let's play several games and discuss everything, what's happening on the board. And just as usual, I'm going to start with guys I've never ever played before. Or at least I will try my best to find ones among challengers, because almost everyone has at least one game played against me. Just as usual, I want you to let me know if everything is fine in the sense of the quality of the sound in the picture. So let's see what's going on here. I can see Welsh Gambiter. We have never played, so I'll accept that challenge to start with. Alright. So I'm playing with black pieces here. And e4. Yes. That's a gambit, right? So d takes c4. Takes there. And I usually respond with the c6 move. Trying to play Caro-Kann with the extra pawn. Because indeed the pawn structure resembles one of the Caro-Kann. The difference being the fact that black is a pawn up. So there is no pawn on the f file. Alright, knight to e5 immediately. That's interesting. So can we just play knight b to d7 right now? I guess it's fine. We can also just start with the bishop f5, bishop c4, e6. Okay. Want to try this one in this game. Okay, queen f3. Played pretty fast. So white is going to play bishop c4 next move or something like that. So should we care, or just, playing something solid is going to be fine? Of course, the bad thing that black can do here is to have the light script bishop active. So, I mean, if I play e6 now, I don't think it's bad for black, but my bishop remains passive. So what about taking on e5 now? D takes e5 and then knight to, say, g4, attacking e5 pawn. It looks risky. Bishop goes to f4, let's say. Queen may jump to d4, attacking e5, then rook goes to d1. It doesn't look good for me. I can attack this knight right now with a queen a5 move, but then again, bishop goes to f4. I'm not sure I'm getting what I want from the position. So probably we should just, play this modest e6 move. I don't like it, but I don't think it's bad, actually. Just a development, right? So it's going to be fine, I guess. So we're preparing castling now. Greendian says, is also possible to challenge 3-minute game. Yes, 3-minute game is possible. Well, actually, whatever you want is possible. But I prefer playing 5-minute games, because in that case I have enough time to explain things, and that's my primary goal, so to say. Alright, now I wanted to simplify this stuff a bit with the help of this knight d5 move. So, and knight e4, is it really possible? What about f6 now? I mean, knight d7, alright, bishop d7. Well, technically, yes, it is possible, but I think White actually wanted to keep that knight on e5. Because now I think black has no problems. Well, this position doesn't look very dangerous for black anymore. And I want to remind you that black is a pawn up, right? So it's like Caro-Kann, indeed. But the bishop is bad, right? Now we have two differences. So black is a pawn up on one hand. On the other hand, black has this stupid light square bishop, which is usually not the case in Caro-Kann. All right, let's see what is more important. With queen on b6, it's always a possibility to lose that queen after bishop a5. Just imagine bishop a5 is possible. Then the queen is kind of trapped, right? No moves whatsoever. So it's important that there is no bishop a5 right now. So we have time to play something like a7, a5 with a pawn to prevent that, and also prepare something on the b4 square. Well, we'll see. What are you thinking of the attack on the king side, obviously. So now what? Can we just grab that pawn on d4? I really don't want to even calculate that. It will take some time, and in Blitz it's not very good to spend a lot of time on unnecessary tactics, because maybe it does work, but a5 is also a good move. I mean, so we have several ideas. We want to probably just put the knight on b4, bishop on b4, maybe play a4, a3, just weakening the position of white's king. So if white plays something like g5 now, I will play f5. Maybe I can consider playing f5 myself here at some point. Who knows? Can be not a bad idea at all. But anyway, what about queen takes d4? Is it really bad? Bishop can go to b4, in which case we can even think of taking on d1 and taking on b4, in which case we will have just a tremendous initiative. Kind of don't see other super dangerous moves. We can also, just go away from it. No, if we go away, there is rook takes d5, which is a 9, or bishop e7 followed by rook d7. Yeah, I guess if we take on d4 and there is bishop b4, we should take on d1, then take on b4. And this is what I want to try here. I mean, I know it's probably not necessary to play like this. Oh, c4 is also an option. I didn't see that at all. That's interesting. Okay. That's really something I didn't expect whatsoever. Okay, bishop takes a3, queen takes a3, queen takes e4. Things are getting really complicated there. All right, let's just go away. And we have only 1 minute, so it was a super risky approach. Yeah, I just mentioned that we shouldn't actually spend a lot of time calculating unnecessary stuff, and that is exactly what I've done. Yeah, that's crazy. It's hard to explain sometimes why I'm choosing this or that thing to play. Right now I want to play f5 next move. What do I have? I have like 3 pawns for a piece, right? And it feels like we're just regaining one easily. There is also rook to c8 coming. I hope to actually win some material. So if queen goes to the g file, I think it's necessary to go there. Then we will just play bishop f6 or something. Yes. Yes, yes. Just protecting g7 for now. Rook f6 is coming. Wow, position is super sharp. With the help of this move, I'm kind of protecting bishop on f6 with my queen. And go away from the c file, preparing rook to c8. Now it should be dangerous for white. Alright, let's bring the rook here, attacking the bishop. Next move is going to be d3. Probably d3 immediately was much better. But then, rook f6, queen f6, bishop c3 was something I was afraid of. Now I have the rook on c8, which means if there is bishop to c3, I will just grab it with the rook. Okay. So there is a threat of queen b2 checkmate. Simple as that. If white plays something like bishop c1, I just take it with the rook. It's not very good scenario for white. Okay, my opponent resigned. So after rook f6, let's just check this one. Queen f6. Yeah, if bishop c3, I just take it, right? Rook takes c3. Or maybe there is even queen to f1. Yeah, queen to f1 is a bit cleaner. So it's just a checkmate, right? With the bishop on a2. Okay. Yeah, it was unnecessary risk I've taken by capturing that pawn on d4. Let's have a look at the idea I had in mind. So I thought white would play something like bishop to b4 here. Just using the fact that if I play queen e3, there is just takes, and my bishop drops. In which case, maybe it's even better just to take on e7 with the bishop instead of taking on d7. And then the bishop is heading, the rook is heading, so white is actually winning something. So what I wanted to play against bishop b4 was to take on d1. And then after, I don't know which one is better, queen d1 or king d1. Let's say king d1, a takes b4. That was my idea. It's to sacrifice a queen for a rook and the minor piece. And to have this initiative along the a file, because if a takes b4 now, there is this check. Just imagine if there is a queen on d1, a b4 is not even possible because white is losing the queen in that case. So king now goes somewhere. I can grab on b4. I also have 2 pawns in addition to the compensation I already have for a queen. So I thought it would be interesting to play something like that, having a pair of bishops, this non-standard material present on the board, so on and so forth. But white surprised me with this c4 move. Maybe I missed something here. So as I said, bishop takes a3 deserved some attention. Maybe, I'm not sure. But yeah, I guess after bishop a3 there is something like bishop to c3 or queen takes a3. Absolutely not clear. So I guess c4 was the right move for white to play here. And maybe my reaction was also fine, because in this case I'm getting 3 pawns, right? 3 pawns for a piece, some attack, some tempo moves here. To be honest, I feel like white should be better here. But since we have entered the time trouble together, I guess it was much easier for black to play this position, because black's moves are very natural, while white should be very accurate. All right, thanks for this experience. Very nice. There's a question from Shah Pirat. Andrey, do you know when your next Tuesday training will take place? Well, I'm not sure about that, because for now I'm having really big problems at my regular work, my regular job. So I have to do a lot of things. So there is simply no strength for me, no, no time even to produce the material for Training Tuesday. So for now, I'm just going to go with banter shows. So like 2 per week, Saturday and Sunday, most likely. And then we'll see. So no clarity there at all. All right, let's continue. But thanks for asking. Thanks for asking. Somebody else I've never played before? Not a single game? Probably no. Let's see. No, there is one. A hunter from Vietnam. So let's accept that game. And here we are playing with white pieces. That's nice. I love playing with white pieces, actually. Luis Rubio also says that we have never played. Okay, so probably next game will be against you. Yeah, for sure. The next game will be against you. So, knight to f3, Sicilian, exciting stuff. My kid is crying on the background. I'm not sure if you can hear that. Most likely yes, because normally people hear that. Bishop e7, bishop to e3. All right, giving me a chance to play g4. So I think the correct move order is actually to play bishop to e6. This one is super strange to me, especially queen to c7 right after I played g4. Maybe it was pre-moved somehow, but feels like it's exactly what I want to get here with white. So now I think white is better. Simple as that. Such a knight on d5 and some attacking chances. Pay attention that I didn't castle yet. So I will indeed castle on in this position. Okay, b5 is not attacking anything since my knight is already on d5. There are several ways to play this position, so I can just immediately put my knight on a5, preventing both bishop b7 and knight to c6. I can also just castle, intending to take that bishop on e7 and take on d6. So if I play knight a5, I should be aware of knight to c5, so what to do with the e4 pawn. I don't think it's really dangerous. I can play f3 if I want to. So both look very attractive to me. I will just castle first, just because I think, you know, it's quite safe to start with, and there's indeed a threat to this d6. Now I can take on e7, let's say. And after f3, there is no way for black to protect d6. Now I have pair of bishops, most likely extra pawn, and yeah, just a much better position, right? I'm sure it was not the only way for white to play here. There were several ideas deserving attention. For example, even knight to a5 right after bishop to b7. If bishop takes d5, I can take with both the queen, because the rook on a8 is hanging, and the pawn, in both cases having a better position. But I think, why not capturing a pawn if there is a pawn, right, for free? Yeah, let's do it. Let's just take on d6. I think there will be an exchange. Queen on... No, there is no exchange. Okay, didn't expect that. Let's put the knight on a5 then. Attacking the bishop. And controlling c6 at the same time. So in addition to all of the problems we have discussed already, black is having serious problems with the development. So let's have a look. What is black's next move? That's a good question. I'm not sure. There is nothing black can do for now. Maybe queen to d8 will be played, attacking my knight, so... Alright, let's just play h4. Continuing with the attack for now. After queen to d8, I can take on c6. And if rook takes c6, then I can take the pawn on e5, I suppose. Yeah, it's a possibility for me to win one more pawn. Alright, knight f8, what is the point? To bring the knight to e6, then I will take on e5. Knight to d7 from b8 is still not possible because I can take on c6. So this means we can continue with the attack, right? Because black created no threats for now. We'll just keep on playing what we have planned. Yeah, black is in a big trouble here. Okay, this gives me another pawn if I want. Do I want to take on e5? Then that goes to d7. Maybe I don't need that pawn even. I don't know. g6 is a possibility here. h6 looks also pretty attractive to me to start with. Just making dark squares super weak there. If g6, I will always have some checkmating threats or something very close to that. I'm not in a rush here, I guess. Everything is under control. So why didn't I take on e5? Just because I don't want to give black a chance to complete a development and play knight to d7. So right now it's not possible because if knight takes c6, just winning a piece. And I think it's a much more valuable thing compared to just a pawn. The fact that black cannot coordinate his pieces. That's why I'm just waiting here a bit. Improving my position slightly, of course. Wow. Now it's kind of important for me to make a decision. So either I grab one more pawn, which is absolutely a valid option, or do something else. What can I do here? I can take on f8 and then play rook to d6, for example, if I want. I can also make another waiting move, and black will most likely take on d6 himself. Well, I don't know. Queen e5, knight to d7, where to go with the queen? I can also just take on d7, bishop d7, and play bishop to d4. This looks nice. But then, unfortunately, there will be f6. Alright, so it's very close. I guess it's absolutely lost for black either way. I don't want to sacrifice anything here, so just yeah, we'll just play that ending. I should be absolutely safe. So what I wanted to do was to take on e5, knight e7, rook d7, bishop d7, then bishop d4, creating a sort of a checkmate on h8, but in that case f6 was possible, unfortunately. That's why I decided not to play that. Maybe I will regret, maybe not. We'll see. Let's just bring our pieces to the active squares. Now knight e4 may be a problem for us. So I think we should just go back to prevent that tactics and continue with something aggressive finally. Only 55 seconds. Will be a pity to lose this game after completely outplaying our opponent earlier in this game. Yeah, I have an absolutely winning position, actually. So, yeah, we should win this game. We should try our best, at least. Okay, let's take there. Let's play rook d6. Okay, taking there, attacking b5 pawn now. Maybe winning one more. There's also a threat of rook b7 at some point. Not a threat, just an idea. Okay. Alright. I don't know. So that should be just good enough. 37 seconds. Alright, we should play a bit faster now, I think. Okay. So. Yeah, a6 was possible immediately. Yeah, that was strange. I forgot about my powerful bishop on e2 supporting that. Should we? No, I guess just b7. Protecting everything, and then just horrible technique of mine. Oh, come on. I'll be flagged here or something. Well, at least I'm not losing here. But I was not in time to win this. Oh, terrible game. Yeah, it's really just so bad one. All right, so I was too focused on, you know, squeezing black here, which is a bad thing to do. So when you see a clear way to win, you should do it. For instance, here, yeah, why didn't I take on e5? I'm still wondering. I'm still wondering why. And probably because here I didn't see that idea. So I thought knight e7, but I guess there is something like rook d7 even. Well, first of all, you don't need it. So if you want, you can just go back to d6, right? It's still absolutely winning position. So you attack the bishop on c6. Well, it's just the same position, but now with two extra pawns. Well, the difference is that knight is already there, but who cares? Black cannot really, achieve anything with this developed knight, so to say. There are also some ideas like this. A take there. If bishop takes, then there is bishop d4. I didn't see that idea at that moment. I've seen this a bit later then. So there is a sort of queen to h8, and if knight takes, then queen g7 checkmate. So knight is kind of overloaded here a bit. Yeah, but there is, of course, queen to d7, and the things are not clear because after this move, for instance, there is at least queen to c7 or queen to e7, and if bishop d4 there is f6. So white shouldn't sacrifice anything here. I think it's stupid to sacrifice in the absolutely winning position. So yeah, just takes on e5, 2 extra pawns, then queen goes back to d6, still controlling everything, which, yeah, the best thing white could have done here. Obviously, white's position remained winning till the very end, but I was super slow. Okay, I should wake up now. Luis Rubio is the next, accept. I should somehow wake up. Still playing with white pieces. I probably should play a bit more dynamic chess and just faster. Come on. So, Sicilian. All right. Let's grab on d4 with the queen. So normally I take with the knight, but I want to try this one here. Oh, giving me a chance to play e5. That's strange. Because now I'm not sure that the knight has a good square, actually. Where to put my queen? Now I have a choice. Now let's still move it to a4. I mean, if knight goes to h5, and then after g4 it's just trapped, so most likely knight has to go back to g8. In which case we just develop our bishop to f4, then castle alone, and continue with the attack or something. So instead of playing bishop g7, knight to c6 should have been played immediately. And then d6 controlling e5 square, preventing me from playing e5. Alright, let's just trap the knight. Let's just trap the knight then. No moves, no squares. So knight e5, knight e5, bishop e5, g takes h5 gives black only, well, 2 pawns at max if black recaptures on h5, but the quality of that pawns is not very impressive. So white is just a minor piece up, in my opinion. Having absolutely winning position. Okay. Yeah. Bishop takes e5, g takes h5. So what's next? Just bishop d2 and castling, for example. Yeah, especially after queen c7, I guess bishop to d2 is very natural. Just protecting the knight and preparing castling at the same time. So bishop c3, bishop takes on c3. Controlling that diagonal is amazing. All right. So it may create a threat of b5, right? Should we prevent it? Well, why not? Bishop g2 looks also quite good. b5 is not even a threat right now because if knight takes b5, but still. Bishop g2 cannot be bad, just a development move. Controlling that long diagonal. Why not, right? Okay. Let's just castle now. b5. We're going just to relocate the queen now. Creating sort of h takes g6, probably. Damaging the pawn structure further. Another threat is knight to d5. Attacking the queen and the pawn on e7. And the general idea is just to bring the rook to e1 and finish the game with a direct attack against the opponent's king. I don't believe that castling short now gives black good perspectives. It's super dangerous, but who knows? I'm not even sure that black has anything better than that. Position is just terrible, right? So probably knight to h5 was a decisive mistake. Yeah, because I don't see compensation for missing piece. So normally you get some sort of counterattack or maybe, I don't know, advantage in development or something. Here, white is much better developed than black. And, yeah. There is no compensation then. Let's say. Queen on d6. Baby's crying. Yeah, baby's crying, but now it's fine. It's okay for baby to cry. So, rook to e1. Bishop b2, king b2. There is no perpetual. Knight on d5 is protected, so everything is under control. f4 is coming. f4 is coming. Probably it's my main threat now. Just attack the bishop, and then once the bishop is gone, e7 will be captured. Bishop b7, alright, so what to do? I can even grab the pawn on a5. I can do bishop c3. I can... Yeah, things are possible here, including this f4 I mentioned. So, yeah, let's do f4. I think it's the most straightforward move and the most efficient one. Bishop d5, just bishop d5. If bishop b2, then king b2. Still no perpetual, and queen cannot take on d5 because of queen e7, checkmate. Okay, now I can take on e7, right? The question is how? With the rook or with the queen? I guess both are fine. With the knight is also nice. I mean, let's take with the knight. This looks great. If I'm not... Yeah, I'm not actually losing anything after knight e7 because there is a threat of knight f5 check now. Grabbing the queen. Knight at g6 is also coming. And king cannot castle after knight e7. That's why I captured that way. Looks kind of cool. Alright, now let's take there. What is the next move? Bishop to c3 is pretty good. I don't know. Everything works here, I suppose. Yeah, bishop to c3 looks good to me. Attacking the queen, the bishop on g7, which is the major defender of the king. So, should be over for black. Yeah. So, the conclusion is simple here. You've just lost the piece at the very beginning of the game. After g4, of course, this position was already not very pleasant. You must have played this knight at g8, then bishop to f4, and white should be better, but that was anyway playable for black compared to what happened in the game. And the right way to react to this knight to c3 is just to start with the knight to c6 and then continue with the d6. That's the main line here. And in this case, I can still play e5, but it's no longer that bad for black compared to what happened in our game because you can take that pawn. You don't have to go away with the knight somewhere. All right, now it's time for accepting challenges one by one, and now is exactly the moment when it's getting really hard. So the first opponent is Grindin. We have played yesterday, and that was super challenging. It's going to be also challenging today, I believe. So Grindin, it's your turn. Come on. I'm waiting for you. Not for a long time because there are other challengers as well. So. So probably Grindin is not there. Okay. Important this one. The next is Teja Ravi. So accept that one. And the next will be pawn holder. Wow. Scandinavian. I think we have played Scandinavian last time, right? Yeah, that was exactly that. All right. I'm not sure that it was a bad thing for me to play this h3. By the way, I can still play g4, but then bishop will probably go to a safe place. So, how to continue? Let's try knight to e5. My idea is simple. I want to put my bishop on f4 with the help of this active move. At the same time, I may have created some threats like, I don't know, queen to f3 attacking the bishop. I guess it all makes sense. Knight to c6. This also looks like a correct reaction. Yeah, what I want to do is just to take there. And then play something active like d5. Otherwise, it's hard to justify what I've done before. Because I'm just developing the piece that has already moved to the one which was just developed. So, very strange stuff. Okay, now bishop f4. Active square I wanted to occupy. e6, undermining pawn on d5. Okay. I think bishop to c4 is kind of natural now. Continue with some active moves, simply. Then probably castling quickly. So what I have in this position is only some tiny advantage in development for now. Is it worth something? I don't know. We will see. So now to take on d5 with the queen or to take on d5 with the knight attacking c7, it's a good question. Which move is better? For some reason I think that queen d5 is kind of more solid because yeah, it feels like if queens are being exchanged, then it's harder for black to protect c7 and black has fewer chances to surprise me with some checks on the e-file. They're not necessarily very pleasant for me. So, yeah, we can continue the attack even in the position without queens because we still have a lot of other pieces to attack. So. And I'm also preparing castling alone to control the d-file with my rook. And then I hope to control another file with my other rook. Okay, c7 can be captured, but I don't feel like it's a good idea when you have such a king. So probably castling alone should be played here. But there may be no other chance to take there. But who cares about pawns? It's better just to have a solid position here, I guess. Let's just castle. So just like in our previous game with this guy, we have no pawns in the center, but it doesn't automatically makes black's position, you know, a good one. I mean, it's not an equality, I believe. White is still better. So everything depends on the control over files now and the initiative. And feels like white is much better developed for now. And yeah, black may have some problems with the coordination. For example, after simple bishop d6 move, I can just take on d6 and after rook d6, for example, put my rook on e1. As simple as that. Next question will be how black is going to develop his pieces. Will be still problematic. That's what I'm trying to say. Another option here is just to play knight to b6 or something. And if c takes b6, then bishop takes d6 and we have pair of bishops. f7 will be under attack. This is also looking quite promising. I don't know. Simple things like this look good enough for me. Maybe I will regret. I don't know. I'm just doing nothing special here. Simply develop my pieces. That's it. Okay. I didn't expect that move because of at least knight to e7 check. Then rook takes d6. Then knight takes f5 and bishop takes f7. Winning the pawn and damaging black's pawn structure. So I think this is already technically a winning position for white. But you know, I have not very good technique. So maybe there will be problems for me to win this. For now though, everything looks just perfect. As a result of this strategy of just, you know, centralizing pieces, creating small threats. Now we have a small advantage, a pawn. Just one tiny pawn. But it should be good enough. Okay, I'll just attack the knight. Although I believe rook e7 is also very promising. But what I want to try here is to reduce opponent's counterplay to minimum. That's why it makes sense to get rid of that knight on d4. So let it be there on c6 where it's quite passive. Now we can simplify even more, just taking that knight. But I guess it's not the right time, so we'll see. I believe my bishop here is fantastic, so I don't want to exchange it at so early stage. Let it be there for some time. Okay, knight c4 is not the problem for me, so let's play f4. That was the idea behind rook e4 move, to get rid of that knight, force it to some sort of passive position on g6, where it will be limited after this g3 move. Okay, we're getting somewhere, I want to believe. Let's undermine that pawn, creating new weakness on a6. Probably taking on a4 was too much for black. I have no problem with a target now, right? So a6 most likely just drops immediately. But anyway, white had a winning position with extra pawn, and yeah, a bishop against the knight with pawns on both flanks is also a typical advantage. Because my bishop can attack pawns on both flanks, for example. Just imagine it on d3 right now. And my bishop attacks both a6 and h7, while the knight has to be somewhere close to the target to attack it. That is what's so annoying for the side which has the knight in these endings. Okay, I think it's also a good idea to centralize the king. After all, yeah, there is no chance for black to survive it unless I blunder something terrible. But even in that case, I have much more time. So what can be the worst scenario? There should be some sort of a checkmate, but I cannot really find the square from where only f5 gives black a checkmate, right? So knight on f5, my king has no squares, but for now I don't see how to get there, so let's just continue with the plan. Okay, so what to say? Knight to h6 was probably a wrong move. I believe I missed something much more promising. So probably the right move was to play knight to b6 here, getting at least two bishops. So after c takes b6, I grab on d6, f7 is under pressure, your pawn structure is slightly damaged here. Still far from being something super clear, but, well, at least pair of bishops, right? At least something. So I decided to take on d6 instead, and after rook d6, rook e1, I had just a slight pressure. And I guess you could have tried bishop to e6 here. And in this case, I believe if white even has something, then it's, not very big for sure. So I definitely don't have a material advantage here. So I think that was the right move for you to play in this position. Okay. So the next is pawn holder. Oh my god, Grandmaster. Grandmaster, we have played so many games. Yeah, so let's focus on the game. Typical Neem-to-Indian pawn structure. Well, not Neem-to-Indian, but similar ideas when the bishop goes to b4 and then grabs the knight on c3. I mean, obviously here it's different already. Okay, let's just castle first. Let's see where white is going to put his dark squared bishop. I'm really wondering. Not that it defines anything here, but it may be important. So either b2 or maybe that initial diagonal, I don't know. So if knight goes away, I wanted to bring my knight to c6, maybe then to d4. Since white has weakened that square, well, it will be still hard for me to get there. But, well, at some point I should try some like e6, e5 anyway. It's a part of a strategy. So when you give up your dark squared bishop for the knight, then you have to put your pawns on dark squares to make opponent's dark squared bishop not so active. That's the idea. Usually. I don't know. If white captures on e5, I take with the pawn, and then I control d4. My knight has a route to get there, but maybe black has something immediate to, you know, get rid of my pawn there. Yeah, and indeed black may want to try something like f4. But is it really great? I'm not sure. Well, let's take with the pawn here. I'm not completely sure it's the best way to capture in that case. At least it looks solid. So I'm still controlling that d4 square, right? It looks like that. And now there is a question. I can take with the knight, I can take with the queen. In both cases, my pawn structure will be damaged. But white's pawn structure is also not ideal. I don't know. I think I should keep my queen on the board here. Because if we exchange the queens, then it will be much harder for me to protect the pawn on c5. Which white is going to attack with the help of rook b5 move, I believe. So, a strange pawn structure. I've never played something like this before. Doesn't look terrible though. Looks balanced to me, but maybe white is slightly better because my weaknesses are a bit more accessible here. I don't know. What about a6? Okay. So rook is on a5, c5 is under constant pressure, so to say, but if bishop goes to e3, there is knight to d7. So, I mean, it should be quite okay. Let's put the rook on d8. Trying to exert some pressure on d3. Okay, king on h1. How can I improve my position here? I'm wondering. If I play something like queen b6, bishop e5, takes e5, queen e5, it's not possible because the rook is hanging there. Maybe I should play for that rook somehow. I don't know. Queen b6. Because that rook is a bit odd to me. So with the help of this move, we're just going away from that p, and bishop e5 and f e5, which could have happened at any moment, actually. White could have played that, I mean. Do we have something like bishop takes e4 now? D takes e4, rook d1, bishop d1? No, I don't think so. It's just too much. That rook on a5 looks strange indeed. Can I win this rook? No, I don't think so. Not immediately, at least. What about just rook b2, like c8? Now my knight is no longer pinned, right? So I can play knight c6 and knight e4 at least. So this move is kind of forces white to take. Okay. And now I can go back to fight for the b file. Oh my god, it's a tragedy there. The next room. Okay. That's what I missed probably, but I still don't think it should be the end of the world for me. So what about queen d6? I have a feeling that I have everything under control. So d3 is handy now. I mean, I can take it if I want. Queen e1. All right, focus, focus, focus. What's going on here? Can I just take on d3 now and simplify everything? I'm not sure, but for some reason I want to do that. It's probably not the right decision, but e4 is kind of hanging, right? Yeah, let's take that one. Alright, that was a problem with my idea in general. Shit. Yeah, just a pawn down now. For nothing. God damn it, I have misplayed it completely. At some point. Yeah, it's lost now. Like absolutely. Yeah, crap. Now, come on. Shit. All right. So. Okay, it was absolutely normal position until I decided to simplify it, so to say. So that was just absolutely wrong decision. So maybe I missed something even here. I'm not sure. Yeah, I guess white is absolutely safe. Yeah, but here, why did I take on d3 even? What moved me to do that? I don't know. So everything is under control, so I don't think anything is threatened in here, really. Something solid should be played to protect e6. Yeah, maybe the only problem was probably this bishop rook to c8 was not correct. I don't know. Strange position. I could have tried, by the way, knight to c6 here. So yeah, just exchanging my house rook, so to say, for that one on a5. But in this case, And yeah, that was the right decision. So I was fooled by that rook on a5. It was actually not that bad. It was an active one. And this development was probably the right one. Because in that case, bishop is under attack. It has to go away. Then my knight just comes back to c6 and goes to d4. So the pawn structure is better for black in this case, I guess. And that's why this position should be just balanced. And yeah, at least black has no problems whatsoever. So black doesn't have to think about these weaknesses on c5, e5, and e6. I think that was the right way to play it. Okay. Anyway, thanks for the game. So, next one is Bogdan. Except 5-minute game. All right. Real French, right? Yeah. French. And that is something we have played already, I guess. Yes, I do remember this game. I won that knight on a6. Because Bogdan just blundered it. But I think the lessons was learned, so it's not gonna happen this time. For sure. Yeah, it's not gonna happen in this game. All right, c4. So the pawn structure is defined now. I no longer have to worry about c4 square, which is great. So I can completely focus on the king side somehow. c2 is still a problem though. It's a good question what to do with that pawn. Sometimes it is being protected with the rook a2 move. Well, I know it looks terrible, but whenever queen goes away from a4, it's possible to play then a4. That's the thing. That's why probably it's okay to have the rook there on a2. Yeah, I'm not sure which one to take. Moving my queen back to d1 also doesn't look bad because, yeah, it's just one move, right? What's the next plan? That's a good question. So we can think of playing, for example, knight h2, intended knight g4, knight f6, which should force black, I think, to play something like h5. And then g5 will be weakened, so we can come back to f3 and then jump to g5 or play bishop g5 and then bishop to f6. So we're still getting to those weakened squares somehow, I guess. So I believe that's the main problem for black in this position. And that's why I think it's not the best idea for black to try this c4. Because now it's harder for black to achieve anything here. Well, at least that's what I feel about this position. I'm not exactly sure that, well, it's going to be that bad, but... Now the question is to move the knight to f3 and then to g5, or just immediately bishop to g5. Everything is looking quite interesting here, but I guess first we should do something good to the knight, then we will see. Because if my bishop jumps to g5 here, I mean, there's something like knight to b5 possible, just immediately starting the attack against c3. I was not sure I will have enough resources to protect my pawns there, so I decided just to first maneuver my knight, then everything else. We will see. h4 should be protected because knight f5 is coming. And then some sort of further maneuver is needed. It's not so simple for now to find a way to achieve anything there. Some sort of regrouping is needed here for sure. So bishop somewhere, queen d2, maybe rook to b1, rook to b4, maybe even immediately rook to b1 with the idea of rook to b4 and then a4. And then my bishop can join the fight through c1 and a3. This can be an option. Also, a lot of things depend here on where black's pieces move. For example, this knight on e7, it may go to f5, may go to c6. If it goes to c6, there is no rook b4 plan anymore. So after knight f5, yeah, we do have this rook b1 followed by rook to b4 stuff. Should we opt for it? I mean, why not? If queen takes a3, then rook can come back to a1 and then take on a7, which is fine because we exchange our super weak pawn, which has no future anyway, for black's healthy a7, which may join the pawn storm at some point. It's definitely a good exchange for us. Okay, b5. So here I'm wondering if I can play rook b4 followed by a4. So rook b4, queen a5, a4, b takes a4, queen a1, a3. Then something like rook to b1. We at least occupy the b file. I think that is what we want in this position. So let's try it. And you know what? I probably underestimated queen takes a3 here. Oh shit. Yeah, that's a bit annoying. That's a bit annoying. But my opponent decided not to take on a3. I think that deserved serious attention and could have been just, you know, a change of the evaluation. Well, at least I didn't see anything for that pawn there. If black captures my pawn here, I mean, it's a different quality of pawns. Right? It's a doubled one. While there, it was absolutely healthy extra pawn, I would say. All right, now, what to do? So we can just regain that pawn, no problems with that whatsoever. Like queen a2, rook a1, for example. We can also just play rook to b1 first to control b5 square and prevent black from playing knight to b5. And maybe creating a sort of rook to b7 now. So we're getting some concrete play for missing pawn here. What we do achieve is the activation of heavy pieces, which I find very important. All right, now bishop to c1 comes to mind because this bishop is doing nothing at all for now. So I'd like to make him useful to some extent. Now rook to b7. I think I'm not blundering anything serious right now. And if a2, then rook b1 to b2. It looks really dubious what I'm doing here, but I have a feeling that I'm fine. Understanding on g5, it's very important because it kind of pins the rook to super important f7 pawn, right? All right, so here I wanted just to sacrifice an exchange this way. Because I do believe it's really dangerous for black. Now I'm getting to dark squares. f7 is still under pressure. There is a threat of this move. Because it's also super annoying for black. Now I guess we're very close to a winning position. So first let's take that pawn. Attacking the rook. Now let's bring the queen to e7. He no longer has b8 square to hide. And if there is no checkmate, then I should quit chess, I think. But maybe indeed there is no checkmate, so probably I should quit chess right now. Okay, so what's the move now? Bishop to a3 followed by bishop to c5, right? Yes. That's the thing to do here. Yep. Okay, so I was pretty lucky here in this game, I mean. But Yeah, I guess I missed the general idea of how I played this game was correct, but the implementation was probably not the right one. So here, for example, Queen A3 was possible. I mean, I completely missed that move. I was pretty sure that Queen A3 was not possible before, and it shouldn't be right now, but it was at this very moment. So, for example, if I play Queen A1, then after Queen A1, Rook to A1, and something simple like A6, Black is just a pawn up, right? I don't understand why I played this Rook before. And I think after Queen takes A3, Black is just better. So if Rook goes to B1, let's say, with the idea of Rook to A1, again, you can just play A6, and if I do something like that, you may go home with the Queen. And then your Rook is free. You're just a pawn up here. Well, of course, obviously, after this pawn goes away, I have some compensation for it, right? So I just play bishop c1, then bishop a3, attacking the queen, and my bishop gets active compared to what it was before. But anyway, it's no longer about white's attack. It's more like, white is searching for compensation for missing pawn, I would say. Okay. Let's continue. So, RQ Damo. Accept. 3-minute game. White pieces, thanks God. I've had enough fun with black ones. That's enough. Same stuff here. Same stuff here. Come on. We have played something like that already, I guess. No? Something very similar, at least. For some reason, I don't know what is the right move here. Let's play knight f3. Still 97. Okay, we have discussed it already, so it's not a good idea for black to play like this, I believe. When white's light squared bishop is still on the board. Right? But who knows? What's going on? I can just take it. And I will do it with pleasure. If rook h6, queen h6, queen c2, I can just go back to c1, right? So now I'm just a pawn up for like nothing. Okay. So, extra material. Same problems for black. I mean, dark squares, f6 as an amazing outpost. And the fact that black lost the h-pawn is very important here because there is no h5 anymore to stop me from knight g4 and knight f6. So, that's why we are easily playing h4 here to prepare this knight h2, knight g4, knight f6 maneuver. To h5, I can play g4 now. If I want. Question is, do I want to play h4? Not really. I want to have my bishop on g5. Now I can indeed play g4. There is no problems with counter sacrifice or something, right? So just g4, rook g5, queen g5, and h4 is protected. Yeah, so I'm going to do this right now. Knight takes h4, attacking what? Attacking nothing, I suppose, so I'll just take on h5. So it's extra rook, right? Extra rook and no compensation, supposedly, after rook to h1, because I exchanged that rook. That could have been dangerous, potentially. No, it's not. No. Okay, let's take that one. Let's play rook b4, just... What? What's going on? My opponent decided to sacrifice everything in this game, I suppose. Alright, there's nothing to comment. Lots of blunders right from the start, I guess, which made black's position quite bad. Okay, Dirks, accept. So French defense. It's a day of French defense. Yesterday it was Caracan that everybody played against me. This time it's French and like almost the same system every time with the bishop on b4. Okay. It's a different versions of that bishop b4 line. And this way is also quite strange because now I have bishop a3 like immediately if I want. That's the whole point behind a4, by the way, to have this a3 square. And you're kind of granting me the access to that diagonal when you play c4. It looks a bit strange to me, honestly. So to take with the knight or to take with the pawn? That's a good question. Let's take with the knight. Let's have a look at what happens there. I know that I'm not developing my pieces whatsoever here, but I think I'm doing something much more important at the moment. I'm shaping the pawn structure, which I think now should be much better for white long term. Or maybe I'm just overestimating my position, just as usual. Typical problem of mine. All right. So there are many very promising continuations now for me. Bishop a3 is one of them. Just to put that guy on, I have no idea, d6 at some point. So queen to g4 looks also very tempting, so let's try that one. Just bring the queen closer to the king. So Bogdan says c4 is to be played only if you intend to go for the castling loan. And I would also add, after white committed this bishop d2 move, it's also sensible for black to force white first to play that bishop d2 and then c4, because in that case it's harder for white to come back to this initial c1 a3 idea with the bishop. But again, even this is not clear. I mean, I guess it should be better for white, but I'm not sure that it is to start with. And I'm not sure that I have a clear plan to prove it. It's not an f5, it's kind of very strong, but okay, it's a question of two moves to get rid of it. So just queen somewhere and then g4. And there is no knight on f5 anymore. Maybe I should have tried something like that in the first place. Alright, so this queen g4 is probably just a waste of time. I don't know. But let's imagine our queen is on h3 or something. Then we can play g4, bishop e3, f4, and just dominate and somehow. Here I find it useful to bring my pawn to a5, where it is not that accessible for black's pieces. Then on a4. On a4 it's much more vulnerable usually. Also, it's a good way to get rid of the queen on that diagonal. Not that it was super dangerous, but still feels like an improvement for white. A slight one. Or maybe it's just exactly what black wanted to get, because now if we play f4, there is queen to c5 check, king h2, knight goes to e3, which is, yeah, slightly annoying. Bishop takes e3, queen e3. It's still okay for white, but that's not what I want to get. So let's protect the pawn this way. Maybe a5 was a bit careless. Bishop is not really doing anything useful on f4, to be honest. So, our main problem in this position is our light squared bishop. I have a feeling that it doesn't have useful work for now. But again, it can be solved at some point. a6 is a risky decision because it may backfire, but I really didn't want to open up the a file because I want to concentrate on the king side now. And black may have achieved something because of my a file. If it is open, I mean, black definitely has some play there. But I'm really misplaying the position here. I have a feeling that I've just lost the thread somehow. Doing strange things, honestly. If h6, just queen back to g4, I guess. That's what I wanted to do. Okay, it's time. It's time to be aggressive here. Okay. Let us continue with the programmatic stuff. So f5 should be prepared somehow, but it's not so simple whatsoever. And now I think you kind of understand why I played that a6, because in ending it may be an asset for me. This pawn may become a queen at some point. All right, this is a mistake, I believe. I'll just grab the pawn on c4. And yeah, just rook d1. Bishops will tear black apart here, I guess. Yeah, just bishop a2. Strategically lost position for black, I believe. Now, of course it was. It's not that simple. Before black played d4, d4 was absolutely wrong. Absolutely. Yeah. All right, so back to that moment where black played d4. That was a serious mistake. So Bogdan recommended bishop c8 followed by knight to a5. Again, it was possible, but it doesn't prove that black is better here. But maybe you're right. So after that, of course, black has great chances to win a pawn. Most likely wins that pawn. The question is if white has a counterplay there. Maybe white is kind of forced to sacrifice an exchange in this case. On a5, I mean. But yeah, you're right. So white has misplayed it. White has misplayed it completely. I have a feeling that the initial plan was absolutely wrong with putting that queen on g4, because after that I had a problem with finding a way to play quick f4, g4 stuff. So instead of playing that shit, I should have tried just immediate bishop e2, castling, like saving enormous amount of time. And then the same plan, and I may have ended up with the bishop on e3 or somewhere, not on h2, which is absolutely bad position in my opinion. So that's the thing, right? That's why I felt bad about my position a bit later. Yeah, and probably here after f6 I should have considered something like that. Also very interesting. This makes my pawn on h4 a bit stupid, but nevertheless, I mean, the more open position we have, the better it is for my bishops. That's the thing, all right? And yeah, all right. Let's continue. Yeah, we're going probably to play the last game. For this time, Amelope is my opponent for this last journey. Okay. So what do we have here? We have Italian, the slow Italian. Now h3, okay. Bishop e6 is what I like to do here in this position. Just exchanging the light square bishops. And I'm playing d5. Not necessarily playing d5, but it's one of the options here for sure. I mean, this position should be more or less balanced after that. Why bishop c5? Because I believe that bishop is slightly misplaced on a7. Yeah, it may sound a bit strange that I prefer a f8 position to that one on a7 g1 diagonal, but I do believe this bishop is very important. And when it is on a7, it's being easily exchanged after bishop e3. So I really like to keep it on the board, because we can then easily play g6, getting rid of that knight on f5. For example, here we can play g6, right? If I'm not mistaken, f6 is protected. Yeah, so we can do it. And that was possible only with the bishop on f8, because h6 is protected. Otherwise, to play g6, black would have had to play something like knight back to g8. Which is doable, but a bit like a pain in the ass. So, let's see what's going on here. Knight at g3. So now there is a threat of e takes d5, right? Because in that case, if we take with the knight, there is queen f7. If we take with the queen, there is queen takes f6. So probably it's a good moment for us to play this move. Just saying that, okay, there is no d5 problem anymore. That knight on h4 is a bit strange after that. Although I'm not sure that I have a clear way to prove it right now. Our bishop is a bit passive, no questions, but white's light square bishop is also not the best one, right? Because it is limited with our pawns. All right, what to do now? Queen d7, I think. It's a logical continuation then. Rook a to d8, exerting pressure on white's d3, probably forcing white to play c4, which will completely weaken everything there. And this one, I didn't expect that one. Probably I was wrong. But I have a feeling that I can take on f4 and play g5, no? Am I blundering something terrible, or am I just winning a piece here? Don't know. Let's see. It's the end of the show for sure. Maybe I'm already quite tired or something. For now, it looks like a piece. Yeah, there are some tricks, of course, but it's extra minor piece after all. So knight h5 is coming. That is probably the main threat. We should be careful about that for sure. How to tame white's initiative here. We should probably play king g6 and control that square. Or do something else. I don't know. Queen e6 or something. Maybe king g8. I like bishop g7 move as well. Oh god, it's so hard. I mean, I have only 20 seconds on the clock. I will lose this game, I think. Simply on time. I'm so stupid. I have just captured there, didn't calculate anything, and now I have 20 seconds to navigate through the jungle of strange variations. But after exchange of queens, I think I'm fine. You know, because without queens on the board, it's much easier to play such a position. Yeah, but the time on the clock is terrible. Terrible time management here. But now I think we're going to win this one. All right. Yeah, just centralization first of all. Then grabbing everything there. Oh, lost on time. All right, absolutely winning position, but I just forgot we were playing 3-minute game. Okay, it was such a failure this episode in many ways. I mean, in the sense of the quality of my play. But anyway, I hope nevertheless you have learned something and found it useful. Okay, so I wish you all the best, guys, and yeah, just enjoy the schedule of Chess 24 nowadays. And yeah, we're going to meet each other in 1 week. Bye bye.